It is 28 to 9. Let's get to the continuing fallout from the ICAC report that found that Commissioner Michael Murphy had improperly recruited a senior officer. I'll get to that in just a moment. Here we go.
Adam Steer on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
The process has begun to sack the Northern Territory Police Commissioner Michael Murphy after an investigation found he engaged in incompetent conduct by recruiting a close friend to a high-ranking police position. The Commissioner has been asked to take leave after the investigation, a notice of which came out just before 9 o'clock on Saturday night, more than a week after the Chief Minister was first made aware of the findings against the Commissioner. It appeared the Chief Minister, Leah Finocchiaro, was dodging the question who was the senior public figure at the centre of the investigation as she skirted the spotlight before the Commissioner outed himself. The Chief Minister maintained she was bound by the ICAC Act and was not allowed to name him, leading to the prospect of changes being made. This is a little of what she had to say.
Yeah, I think it absolutely needs to be explored that if you're a senior public servant, you would be named. If that person had have been an MLA, for example, they would have been publicly named. And so this is just one in a number of parts of the ICAC Act that need to be looked at, and they'll be looked at in the fullness of time.
Why did you appoint?
The current Deputy Commissioner, Martin Doyle, will stand in as Acting Commissioner for now. You are on ABC Radio Darwin. Nathan Finn is the President of the Northern Territory Police Association. Mr. Finn, welcome back to the program. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, good morning, Adam, and good morning to your listeners.
You said last week, and I quote, "The trust of our members in this Commissioner is now destroyed. Our members will not forget this betrayal and question his ability to continue as the Commissioner of Police." First of all, your reaction to the Chief Minister's statement over the weekend that she was now looking to act to remove the Police Commissioner.
Yeah, definitely. Since our coming out on Thursday night with our media release and our strong media release to support our members, Adam, I've had numerous conversations with the Chief Minister and her government over this. We met on Friday. We also had a discussion on Saturday when the decision was made. For the decision which she was going to make. So I acknowledge that the Northern Territory Government decision to terminate Commissioner Murphy, and this is a serious decision that required careful consideration and consultation and advice for them.
It is important to recognise, as the Chief Minister did, that Commissioner Murphy is afforded natural justice here, so we are quite restricted on what we can talk about this morning.
And definitely, Adam, everyone's entitled to the natural justice, and he's got a right of response to that decision by the Chief Minister and by this government. So that's a process that we're not going to actually speak about, we're not going to go into. That's a process that he's involved in with the government itself and not involved directly with the NTPA.
I'll go back to that statement, though. Our trust of our members in this Commissioner is now destroyed. Our members will not forget this betrayal and question of his ability to continue as the Commissioner of the Police. Yep. When exactly did your members lose faith in Commissioner Murphy?
There's been a number of things that have raised concerns with obviously the NTPA and also our members over a long period of time, Adam. Our officers are frustrated and angry at yet another failure in his leadership. This undermines the integrity of the whole Northern Territory Police Force, and this represents badly on all our members trying to do their job daily. And they look up to this person to provide that leadership to them. And if they aren't getting that leadership, quite rightfully, they're frustrated because they're being held to a different standard than he's actually held him to himself.
When you say yet another failure of his leadership, what are those other failures?
There's a number of other failures that I won't go into publicly here. There's been a number of conversations in the background with both the government and also with the Commissioner himself over a number of period of time, but we're not talking about the specifics today.
Well, was it the apology he made at the Garma Festival to Aboriginal Territorians for past harms and injustices caused by members of the Northern Territory Police Force? That apology is still pinned to the front page of the Northern Territory Police website.
That is. Definitely that was a decision by him to make that apology. We're not saying that apology has obviously brought him down, but there was a number of members frustrated with that apology as well, Adam.
Why did the Commissioner Murphy resign from the Police Association board following that apology he made to Aboriginal Territorians?
Because he didn't like the response from the Northern Territory Police Association at the time. He chose that he needed to declare that conflict. There was a conflict there with what we were saying. We weren't questioning him about He's entitled to apologise for whatever he sees fit. But our members were frustrated at that point in time, Adam, that they were apologising on behalf of them. And a lot of these members haven't done anything wrong. And if any members have done something wrong, they've been held to account for that issue.
I'm going to read you the rest of the apology.
Yeah.
I formally apologise for the hurt inflicted upon Aboriginal people, and together with my fellow officers, I commit the Northern Territory Police Service to do the hard work to transform our relationship with Aboriginal to Territorians for a safer community for all. He then goes on to say, we know that we cannot change or undo the past, but together we can commit to not repeating our mistakes and the injustice. What's upset your members about that apology? What was so offensive about it?
It upset the members that actually haven't done anything wrong and actually tried to advance our relationship with Aboriginal communities and to making sure that they're supporting the community that they serve, and they go above and beyond, Adam. And our members are quite frustrated when they haven't done nothing wrong and they've tried to build these relationships over a long period of time and lost stellar careers. And in remote communities, it's a hard job, and we try to have these relationships every single day. And our members try to build these relationships every day. There are things that come undone and bring these relationships into question, Adam, but at the end of the day, our members are going above and beyond to try and repair these relationships and trying to do everything they possibly can to support the people they serve in the community.
He says that together we can commit to not repeating our mistakes and injustices. That seems like a positive move.
It is, and we all want to learn from our mistakes, Adam. Definitely, and our members learn from that as well. They're held to account for when something doesn't go the way it's planned. We've seen this time and time again, but the fact is that where members haven't done anything wrong, should he be apologising on behalf of them?
So was that
we feel no.
So was the apology, is that what's caused the rift between the members and the Commissioner?
That's correct.
Solely that?
No, there's a number of factors, and as I said, I won't be going into that, but that's a contributing factor.
You're on ABC Radio Darwin. Adam Steer with you this morning. The Northern Territory Police Association President Nathan Finn is your guest right across the Northern Territory. I'll be with you through until 9 o'clock today. You said last week you had grave concerns about the potential complicity of other panel members in the Commissioner's unacceptable conduct, not properly managing what is an obvious, serious conflict of interest. Are you aware of the other people on that recruitment panel?
I am aware of those people that were sitting on that panel. I've had conversations with those people as well. There are concerns because this, as a conflict of interest, I don't know the level it had been raised or has been raised, or I really don't know. I don't have that evidence to suggest. But that brings into question, did anyone else raise that conflict at the time? Did the applicant raise the conflict at the time as well? So there's a number of things that we're concerned about, not only with this panel, but there's also other promotional panels which may have been influenced as well. And we're quite concerned, and our members are as well. How would you feel if you were on these panels and you were going for a promotion, you didn't get a promotion, then find out that it wasn't actually above board? That's disgraceful in our eyes to the membership, and those people that missed out are feeling dejected because and now they're actually turned to frustration because they haven't been deemed and haven't felt like they've been dealt appropriately.
You're aware of all the other members that were on that panel?
Yes, that's correct. Was
the newly appointed acting commissioner on that panel?
That is correct.
That's interesting, isn't it? Do you know if he had supported the recruitment of the person that this matters around?
I haven't seen a copy of that report, Adam, but I'm informed on that, and I had a conversation with the acting commissioner now, or the deputy commissioner on the time on Friday, where he confirmed that he was part of that panel.
Okay, so the acting commissioner, Martin Doyle, was on the panel, the same panel that the Commissioner Michael Murphy was on. This is the same panel where Commissioner Michael Murphy will probably lose his job over. Is it fair that the acting commissioner, Martin Doyle, is in that position, given he was also on that panel?
Again, that's a decision for the government that's appointed him. I don't have the ability to appoint who's going to be acting commissioner. I can only provide advice on what information that we know and what our members know to make sure that we get the best possible person to do the job that we need to do.
The trust of our members in this commissioner is now destroyed because he was on that panel, and now we've got an acting commissioner who was also on that panel. Are your members supporting the new acting commissioner?
A number of members aren't supporting that, and definitely not. But that's a decision not from me for the appointment. It's a decision by government. They're aware of all the information. They've had the ICAC report. They've received a full briefing in relation to the ICAC report, where I haven't. And I can't comment on that, Adam.
Okay. I think this is the shortest period a police commissioner has held the role in Northern Territory.
I'd have to go back through the records, Adam. I can't confirm that or deny that.
But it is it's a short period nonetheless. What do you want to see next happen here?
We need to have a person that puts our members at the forefront and makes sure that their integrity is untouchable, to make sure that they lead by example. They're providing that stability that the police force knows, but we also need to provide that reform that we need to move with the times as well. Our members are struggling. They have been struggling for a long time, Adam, and through the resourcing issues, through different events that have gone on over the past few years, our members are hurting, and this just adds to that frustration of our members. They are hurting. They need the support, and they need to make sure that we've got a strong leader to provide us with guidance of where we want to go strategically.
Well, what do we do next? So if I have a look at the last 4 police commissioners, you have Mr McRoberts, who was eventually jailed for improper conduct. You've got Mr Kershaw, who's now the Federal Police Commissioner. There were questions around budgetary responsibilities when his time was in the leadership. You then got Mr Chalker and now Mr Murphy, who both left under various different circumstances. I mean, so we've tried somebody from outside, and then we've tried recruiting from our own. Is the next to try and get a woman as the top job?
That's a question again for government. I'm not involved in that recruitment process, but we have. It's who would want that job, Adam? Definitely the way we've seen it over the last. Yeah. But again, you've got to take your hat off to these people. If they hadn't done anything wrong, they wouldn't be in that position. I'm saying that they need to hold themselves to a high level of standard, no matter who they are or what they think they are. They're the Commissioner of Police. They need to be above reproach and make sure that their behaviours are mirrored down through our agency to make sure we've got the best possible leader for our organisation. And we've seen that we haven't.
What's the feeling of your members today, this Monday, as we start the new week?
It's been a sad day. It's been a sad time for the Northern Territory Police Force. We don't need this damage. This is further reputation damage to the Northern Territory Police Force. Our members are struggling. Our members are struggling to have that, to hold their head high and put that uniform on. It provides uncertainty in the community, and we want to make sure that that community sees the police force for what we are and what we do, and to make sure they hold that trust in our police force. Because if we haven't got the trust of the community, we haven't got the trust of our police force, and we can't do the job that we need to do.
We know that police forces around the country are struggling to recruit and retain members. What does this type of scandal, for want of a better word, do for our ability to recruit more people to the NT?
It's a big struggle, and I've had those conversations exactly on Friday with the government. How do we actually recruit to the Northern Territory Police Force when we're in a shambles at the moment? How do we retain our experienced members to not go somewhere else to go, we don't need this shit, okay? But our members are struggling, and they are telling us that every day, and they want to see a strong leader for this Northern Territory Police Force without any skeletons in their closet, without anything worried about. They want a leader that stands up for them and make sure they're supporting the best possible job they can do.
Chief Minister Leah Finocchiaro is also the Police Minister. As you say, things are in a little bit of shambles at the moment. Chief Minister has a lot of responsibilities. Are you happy with her retaining that role as the Minister for Police, or should it move to somebody else who could perhaps spend more time on it?
We've got no issues with her, and there's no questions in relation to her ability. She's listening to police, she's listening to the NTPA, she's listening to our members' concerns, and she's doing a great job at doing that. And we've seen the legislative changes that we've had placed to make sure that police can do their job better. We're seeing a government that is actually tenfold supporting police from what we've previously seen, Adam, and we applaud them for that, and we make sure that we're working together to make sure we can get the best possible police force and do the best possible job for our community here in the Northern Territory.
Nathan Finn, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in.
Adam, I appreciate your time as always, and to your listeners, have trust that we are a professional outfit. We want to maintain our professionalism and our integrity, and to make sure that our members at Boys in Blue are doing the best possible job they can.
Well, actually, before I let you go, we did get there has been an internal broadcast from the stand-in Police Commissioner Martin Doyle, who says the job is...
Martin Dole.
Yeah.
Dole, yeah.
Got it right.
Yeah, that's all right.
The job isn't easy, but it's one of the most important in the Territory. Thank you for your service, your professionalism and your dedication. Do you back those?
Definitely. It's a hard job, and our members struggle with that every day to make the hard decisions about protecting our people. and to make sure we're protecting the community in which we serve. And we need that faith in that community. We need the faith in our police to do the best possible job that they can do.
Nathan Finn, good to talk to you as always. We'll talk
Always,
soon.
Adam. Thank you.
There's Nathan Finn, the president of the Northern Territory Police Association. Thanks for your text.
Now, we know the Northern Territory Police Association called for the Police Commissioner Michael Murphy to resign on Friday in the wake of him identifying himself as the individual who'd engaged in improper conduct in hiring a mate in a Northern Territory ICAC report. And it seems those calls have been answered. The Chief Minister on Saturday informing the Police Commissioner that he's lost the confidence of the government, giving him the opportunity to now resign. Michael Murphy has been asked to go on leave effective immediately, with Martin Dole now acting in the top job. Joining me in the studio is the Northern Territory Police Association President Nathan Finn. Good morning, Finny.
Good morning, Katie, and good morning to your listeners.
Thanks so much for your time this morning. Now, Finny, obviously the Chief Minister started the process to terminate the appointment of the Police Commissioner, Michael Murphy. We caught up with her a little bit earlier. It sounds a bit more complicated, than simply asking him to resign. But what's your reaction to this situation?
There is a process, and we did make a media statement on Thursday night after our special executive meeting of the Northern Territory Police Association, where we called his integrity into question and also called for his resignation. The government's listened to that. We've had conversations with the government about that as well on Friday, and also over the weekend as well before the decision was made public. This is a decision, a serious decision that required careful consideration, consultation and advice by the government. There's a process that has to be maintained in this, and also the Commissioner's also got the right of, obviously, for his right of reply as well in response to those allegations.
I mean, should the Chief Minister have done this earlier? From my discussion with her on the show earlier, we're in a situation where she received that ICAC report, more than a week ago, obviously knew who the person was at the centre of this.
There's disclosure issues with the ICAC report, and if you're not named in that report or not party to that report, there's obviously offences in releasing that information part of that report as well. So I believe that there was stuff in process behind that when she did receive that update, and there were some things that are working on. But since we called out for his resignation on the Thursday night, things escalated from there, and the discussions had place.
Finny, what's the response been from members?
Our members are frustrated, Katie, and they're frustrated and angry that they've been failed and their leadership's been failed within the Northern Territory Police Force. We've seen this time and time again. Our members have been through hell and back with commissioners over the last a decade or so. It's not acceptable, Katie. It's not acceptable to have this sort of behaviour at our executive level, and it provides our members with a turn of frustration who are just trying to get on and do their job. They don't need this distraction.
So, I mean, even after the statement went out, you guys said that you no longer had confidence in Michael Murphy. I mean, what are members saying about the fact now that the Chief Minister has acted?
Members are very, very much supportive of what's happened and what's going on forward. They've got a few concerns in relation to the other selection processes that have been could possibly be tainted. I reassure that the people have been promoted. I put myself in the shoes of, if you weren't promoted, you were in that application panel, you weren't promoted, and now you find out this information, how would you feel? And how would you feel about that promotion system? That's not the confidence we need, and we want our members to say, hey, we've got an equal opportunity to get promoted here, and we're on an even playing field. And clearly it hasn't been, and that's disappointing for our members that have gone through the ranks, done the hard yards to get promoted, to seek promotion and have that ability to get promoted. They should be placed on an even field, and that clearly is not the case.
Is it appropriate now that the acting Police Commissioner, Martin Dole, was on the panel, that same panel in question with the ICAC report?
That's something that the information that the ICAC have briefed the Chief Minister on. I don't have a decision in relation to who's the acting Commissioner, who's the Deputy Commissioner of Police. We can only provide our advice.
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking though is does it provide the confidence that members want?
Some members, it won't provide confidence at all. Again, he's been, as you just said, he's been on the panel. He was on the panel when this decision was made, and when the commissioners, obviously, the reports come out rectifying that the commissioner hasn't acted appropriately. It asks questions, Katie, and it asks questions, and our members are asking exactly the same questions. What was his involvement in it? Again, I haven't been briefed by the ICAC report, and I don't pretend to know what's in the ICAC report, but the government has that information, and the government's fully aware of that investigation, the outline of that investigation, and they've got the evidence to suggest otherwise if his position was.
Yeah. Oh, and look, I want to be really clear, I don't have an opinion either way. I'm not part of the police force as to whether, Martin Dole acting in the role as the Northern Territory Police Commissioner is a good thing or not. I've interviewed Martin on numerous occasions and always found him to be really upfront and honest, a hard-working bloke. But I guess from the outside looking in, people are questioning whether it's the appropriate move if that whole recruitment process has been tainted.
Yeah, and definitely, and something I could work with Mr. Murphy as well. It doesn't say that what's going on behind closed doors we know about, or we have any information or evidence to suggest otherwise. Until this stuff comes out, we don't know. And we're like everyone else in the police force, we have speculations about certain decisions, but unless we got the evidence to act on it, like we have on this circumstance, we can't act on that. But again, a lot of our police work and a lot of the work that the NTPA does is behind closed doors. 90% of our work is behind closed doors and for the benefit of our police members, without naming individual people, without going through a process. Unless we get to a serious situation like we have, do we come public?
Finny, are we in a situation here where there needs to be a review into other appointments under Michael Murphy?
Definitely, Katie. And I'm of that same opinion. I think we alluded to that on the Thursday night as well. That puts speculation into it. There's information out there that suggested that people had questions to applications to questions they were going to be asked at interview. That's not acceptable, Katie. If anyone gets an unfair advantage, it's detrimental to our whole police force. And our members are quite frustrated about that.
So do you reckon it should be a review, an inquiry? How deep does this need to go? Or how deep, how concerned are you by it?
But our members are concerned. It's not just about me being concerned, it's about we represent our members and our members are concerned about that. They want to see that anyone held responsible who has done something untoward in the selection process. We know that this has happened. This is not just new to this commissioner. It's new to previous commissioners. We've seen this as well, where there's been jobs for favoured people. It shouldn't be that case. It should be all merit-based.
So is that something that people within the force feel is happening?
They don't feel. They know that, Katie, and they tell us that on a regular basis. They feel aggrieved by the process and they want to have an even playing field, and it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be determined to your relationship with a commissioned officer whether you get a job or not. It should be about your ability to perform the job that we need to do, and their merit in that selection process.
Finny, where to from here?
That's a very good question. There's a long process that goes out with the removal of the police commissioner and the cancel of his contract, and the government. So that's something that the government's undertaking at the moment. There'll be a selection process, no doubt.
Well, the Chief Minister sort of said this morning, it's more that they're going through the termination process at the moment. They're not even going through, looking at the recruitment process yet, which then sort of makes me question how long that's going to take.
Until you can finalise it, it's not going to be weeks, Katie. It's definitely going to be months to see this, and that's going to provide further instability to the Northern Territory Police Force and our members. Our members are doing a remarkable job out there, Katie, under some adverse pressure, and the job that they're doing is unbelievable, and they're maintaining their professionalism. They're trying to be upbeat about their policing, but it's hard to be not distracted by what's going on.
Well, Finny, I think the really frustrating thing, even this morning, I'm reading through the press releases that have come through on the weekend of the work that the Northern Territory Police have done on the ground. I'm reading about a situation in Alice Springs where a police vehicle's been rammed, allegedly, by a car load of kids.
And I can speak to you about that. I spoke to the member involved yesterday about that. He was a shift sergeant in Alice Springs. He went to help his members out with a stolen motor vehicle. He confronted the stolen motor vehicle, at which point in time he seen them driving out towards him. They were doing between 60 and 80 kilometres an hour, where usually they go to and swerve at the last minute. This car ran straight at him. There was an intention there to kill him. And he is now suffering because of that. The airbags have been deployed in the car. The car's been written off. It's horrendous that our members are being faced with this and being faced with this on a daily basis. This is not isolated to Alice Springs, but again, this is another incident in Alice Springs that raises very serious concerns. This member had the opportunity. If he had the opportunity to take lethal force, I would back him 110%.
The thing is, though, now, on a day like today, we're obviously having these discussions about the police commissioner, and they need to be had. This needs to get sorted out because you need to make sure that you've got leadership, and that happens right from the top. But we're in a situation where we're talking about that. We have been for the last week. All the while, you've got police officers on the ground trying to do their jobs. How do we continue to stuff this up when it comes to leadership within the force?
Definitely, Katie. And our members don't have the luxury of stepping back and going, hang on, I just want to take all this in, what's going on. They're out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And our members are asking exactly the same question that you asked. How do we get this so wrong so often? And that's not acceptable to our members. It's not acceptable to our police force. And to guide our police force, we need a strong leader that stands up for our members, supports our members, and makes sure that they know and place government on notice as well that, hey, I'm here to do the job of police commissioner. I'm not going to be interfered with by the judicial system or the political games that needs to be played. He needs to be one for the commissioner, but the commissioner of police needs to be a strong person that leads the police force without fear or favour or ill will of anyone.
Vinny, what else needs to happen to rebuild the confidence within the Northern Territory Police Force right now, and in terms of rebuilding the confidence in leadership?
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. It's clear that we're lacking leadership at that top level of the police force. We've seen that over a number of times, and a number of decisions have been made. Unfortunately, this situation has shown that they believe they're bigger than the decisions that are being made, and they're making decisions based on their personal opinions, and that's not acceptable.
I mean, does that go for all the executive,
no, that's
or
not
are you
all
just
the executive,
talking?
Katie. Yeah. We've seen this, and it's come out, and it's been publicly named now that this is happening at the top level. So what else is happening within that internal upper level of the Northern Territory Police Force? And if if there is this happening at all levels across the Northern Territory Police Force, there's something that needs to be happening about that.
And so at this point in time, the next step, do you think it is a review?
They need to review that. They need to have an investigation into what's happening and how widespread this is. If that leads to an inquiry into the police force or a royal commission into the police force, so be it. It needs to happen. Our members need that trust within this system to make sure that they're supported to do the best possible job they can with the police.
I mean, a Royal Commission's a big call in the sense that they cost a lot of money and waste a lot of time.
I'm definitely not calling for it, but if there's evidence there suggests that from the initial investigation, then so be it. Make it happen. That's the thing that we need to do. And the inquiry into the police force, because our members will tell you this has been happening for years and everything else. Why do we put up with it if it's happening for years? If we've got evidence to suggest that it is happening, why aren't we dealing with it? And we need to tackle it head on, Katie.
So an investigation at this point in time, or a look into, a review into it?
Yeah, definitely. And our members deserve that. Our members deserve to know, hey, did I not get promoted because there was bias on the panel, or did I get promoted because I was the best possible applicant and the best possible person for that position? And unfortunately, this whole thing's put doubt into that situation. And I feel sorry for those members that have been promoted in that time. But again, it provides speculation that the Commissioner's released in his statement to say, I've promoted all these people within this time frame. Well, that puts speculation onto those positions as well, because he's just said, I've done something wrong with this process. But again, he's highlighting that all these people have been promoted. So are those promotions, promotions going to stand? By all means, they should be. But again, there needs to be a review into what happened in those processes, and if it was above board, that's fine. But again, it's not going to alleviate the members' frustrations with what's going on. If they didn't get promoted, or if they were applicants that did get promoted, it still provides a frustration to them. We need to make sure that integrity of those promotional systems are intact, and to make sure that flows on to the rest of our members to know that they've got the confidence in the leadership of the Northern Territory Police Force. Well,
Nathan Finn, President of the Northern Territory Police Association, we will leave it there. As always, good to catch up with you.
Thank you, Katie. And to all our men and women out there that are doing it tough and struggling with these decisions and struggling with what's going on in the background, make sure you maintain your professionalism, act within the best possible job role that you can do, and make sure you put your best foot forward, because we've got your back and we'll make sure that we'll support you in whatever we can.
Yeah, good stuff. Finny, thank you. Thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Katie.